What is up, listeners? Welcome to Predator vs. Movies. I am Hercule Poirot, also known as Alex.
I'm Peter.
I am Aiden.
This is a podcast where we discuss and review the latest movie releases. We'll start off with a non-spoiler review before diving into a deep discussion of the film, and then we will ask the most important question. Would this movie be better if the alien from Predator was in it? Totally lost it by the end.
The alien from Predator. Oh, it is the alien from Predator, right?
I'm reading it off. I can't make mistakes.
It's just when I hear alien from Predator, I think the
alien.
xenomorph. Yeah.
But this week we're going to be reviewing, as you may have guessed, A Haunting in Venice, the third Hercule Poirot film, the third movie in the Murder on the Orient Express trilogy. It's really hard to describe
the Kenneth
what
Brannaugh,
this
Agatha
is.
Christie. It's the Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, Kenneth Branagh, Bonanza.
So it's the ACKBHPB.
CEU. Yeah.
No, B, Bonanza.
Yeah.
So yes, we're doing the third movie in the ACKB HPB.
Okay.
Haunting in Venice. But before we do that, we have some movies from the trailer park.
Also, we're all
Trailers.
back. We're all back. It's all
yes.
three of us.
This is true.
But vroom vroom, we're in the trailer park.
And all of us are here. We're
All
all
of
back.
us are here. Yeah.
We're so back. And also, you know who else is so back? There's two answers to this question.
Wes Anderson?
Wes Anderson
Yeah.
is so back after a decent summer. He's got a short film coming out. In fact, maybe 4? I heard there were 4 films.
I think it's part of a series.
And he's doing them for Netflix. And the first one, or the most famous one, maybe both, is The Something of Henry Sugar. What is it called? The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Okay, I found it.
Okay.
And it has Benny Cumberbatch and
Ben Kingsley too.
yep, and
Dev Patel.
Yeah, and I was
Some other
hoping you'd just
guys,
answer
too.
all of them.
That's all I remember.
The guy who I don't know the name of from the It crowd.
Oh yeah. Right.
And Ayoade Richard.
Oh, Richard Ayoade. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in it.
Anyways, it looks like a Wes Anderson movie, and it looks really good. And I've heard great things, so
It does look really good. I've heard that
to
it's thematically kind of similar to the Asteroid City, but in a good way, not in like a retreading the same tracks kind of way.
Okay.
And I also think that it looks like it's using sets in a really interesting way. I like the moving of the sets in the trailer.
I agree. It's very I've heard that it's basically like text to the screen. Like he actually didn't really change the words much. It's almost like word for word the same. And I noticed that when like the characters speak to the camera in like their narration, it's like da 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 he says, and so like they're like literally just reading the book aloud, which seems like a really interesting technique. Now, Peter, you were a Wes head. What did you think about this trailer?
Actually, to be honest, I'm actually not sure what this story is about until I googled it.
Henry
Then I
Sugar,
found
I
out.
imagine.
Yeah. Until I found out it's actually based on like famous stories. I think it's based on something, right? Now I forgot what
It's
it was about.
It's Roald Dahl.
It's not Roald Dahl. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's who he is.
He did.
But,
Who did Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
Yes.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I mean,
Whatever it is,
anyways, which yeah. No, it is
Quite-
Charlie, isn't it? Sorry.
It is Charlie. Yeah, it is Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good.
Looks good.
Benny Cumberbatch looks great. So, and I think like it's actually really interesting because like initially I thought only certain celebrities will fit the Wes Anderson style, but now that he's got more and more celebrities into his sort of little ensemble, you know, we got Tom Hanks in there, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And now I think like maybe like everyone can do it. It's not.
I
like
would say though, every actor that I've seen added to the roster, I feel
it
like
makes sense,
like,
right?
I've been like, yeah, like I've heard
Yeah.
that they're casting it. I've been like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. They can do that.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe
we should get Tom Hardy in the Wes Anderson movie.
That's a good example
actually-
of like a hideout. Like I don't think
that would be
No, I could
amazing.
actually see that. My initial reaction was like, oh no, definitely not. But then
Right?
you have to remember that he's a big silly voice guy, that like physical silly voice actor, and I think he actually could do it really well.
Yeah.
What about Jason Statham?
No.
Or how about Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
You know
No,
what's
definitely
crazy?
not. No shot.
The Rock is trending recently because like apparently he went back
I
to
just said his-
WWE or something.
Yes,
Like
it
he
is.
made his first appearance in like a long time.
And he did the people's elbow.
Yeah.
He did
Oh.
it. I don't know.
It's the
I don't know
people.
what it means.
Belongs to the people. Communally owned.
He does it. You know who he does it for? It's for his fan base, the elbows.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh no, there was one other thing, Peter. There was an actor we didn't mention.
Oh no.
Another one of your favorite actors. What's his name again?
It's Ray Fiennes. I made
Is it? Are you
I made
sure?
the-
Because you
I made-
said something different.
Hey, I made a
You said
silly
something different over
mistake. Oh my god. So Alex
Sounds
pronounces it as Ralph, which is very stupid.
Sounds
But
spelled.
then I made the same mistake this morning, pronouncing it as Ralph. So.
Interesting. But we'll live and let learn, and man, segues are hard. You know who else is back? Who else is so back? Aquaman. We thought we cut this out from last week's episode, but there was like a fake Variety article that said Aquaman 2 was lost.
Lost in the
Aquaman 2,
Yeah.
the Lost Kingdom was lost in the servers, and they just like couldn't find it. And so we actually we talked about it on pod before realizing that it was fake, and then we're like, cut it, we can't talk about it. Like,
Really? I
that's so
swear.
We-
I swear I listened to the episode and you did talk about it.
Wait.
Oh man, did I not cut it out? I thought I did. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I did a bad job. Anyways, so it is not in fact lost, and we have now seen not only a teaser that said the trailer was going to be out in 4 days. Which I thought was so funny. Like, guys, you've been waiting for so long. Don't worry, teaser's out 4 days.
Yeah.
And then we got the real thing 4 days later on a Thursday or something. Something so
I
weird
think-
too.
I think Aquaman 1 sucks. But I will
I
say
didn't like it either.
I loved it.
I-
I thought
I
Aquaman
am-
1 was sick.
but I'm excited for this one, and the reason is that during this trailer there are multiple points where I laughed out loud. Like I think like the idea when they're like, he's like, yeah, I'm the king of the ocean. There's a bunch of species, and it's fucking awesome, but not everyone likes me. Then Black Man is like, I'm gonna murder his whole family. Like, that's like, usually villains say something like, I'm gonna destroy you and bring you down. But he's like, no, I'm going to murder his family. I'm gonna murder his family and burn his house down.
My favorite is like the opening line of the trailer where he's like, "Yeah, 4 years ago I was basically unemployed." Like really great, important information.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world. 4 years ago, basically unemployed. And yeah, I think it's kind of funny. I like the idea he was like, I know what I have to do. I have to go team up with the one person who I hate most in the world, my brother. And at that point, I was like, is that a new character? Does he have a brother?
Yeah, I didn't recognize him.
Who is his brother? And then he goes, so first he says, my brother. And then the first person we see is like Groot. Like there's this like coral skeleton man. I was like, is that fucking Groot? And then we see like this raggedy, like shriveled Santa man in like a scraggly beard. I'm like, that's his brother? Who's this? Is this a new character? And then he's like on the beach and he's like doing punches. I'm like, who is this guy? And then we're just supposed to like identify that is what's his real name?
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. And
Yeah.
then like he becomes clean shaven after, but
And
there's
it's
no
like,
like
yeah.
there's no transition. There's no
Yeah,
like
it wasn't until I saw him shave where I was like, oh, yeah, he's like Ocean Guy or whatever. Ocean
Master.
Yeah.
Orm. His name is
Yeah.
Orm.
Oh, yeah.
And I just like that, like, we're supposed to understand that is the same. Like, imagine if you don't know anything about this universe, and you see scraggly old man, and you're like, oh, that's his brother. And then they're like, later, like, Ocean Master appears, and you're like, who's this guy? What happened to where's his bearded brother?
Yeah,
Like,
if you haven't
there's
seen
just
the
no
first
like
one.
haircut scene.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
bothered me. And then they go to the Lost Kingdom, which is
They do.
Journey to the Center of the Earth, I guess.
Yeah.
Are there dinosaurs there? Wasn't there a dinosaur in the last movie?
Maybe. There was like creatures from the lagoon. I remember that.
From the trench? There were the trench
Yeah.
people.
There were the
But
trench people.
They went down so far. It was where somebody was hiding, and where he found the trident, and it was like
Okay.
that luscious, like jungly place. So they're back there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I
Oh,
thought
that was
there
a
was a
dragon,
dinosaur.
though.
Oh, maybe it was a dragon.
That was
it was
it
a
was a
dragon.
sea dragon.
Oh,
Couldn't
sea dragon.
differentiate.
Okay.
It's look. I think we're pulling hairs here.
Guys, okay, was it a dragon or a sea dragon? Like, we gotta get to the
Whatever.
No, it was not like a standard sea dragon. It's like a dragon in the sea. So you can call it a sea dragon.
Some independent verification. I thought I saw that.
So, okay,
Guys.
just to be clear, it was not a dragon who is indigenous to the sea. It was a dragon of the land and sky who has found himself in the sea.
Okay, maybe
That's what you're
maybe
saying.
it's my problem. I thought there was like a literal T-Rex, but maybe
No.
I can't find.
There was
verification.
there was a dragon-esque thing guarding the trident in the first movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
But what I can see for real though is if you look up Aquaman dinosaurs, the first option is a picture from Aquaman, and it's a beach. It's a wide shot, and there are small dinosaurs running across the beach. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
might
that
have
does-
conflated these things and made it a big T-Rex in my mind. But anyways,
Okay, and also just for the record, since we're on the pod, I do not hate the trailer. Unlike these two, I think it looks fine. And
I don't even think we said how we feel about
don't-
the trailer. Or Aiden said he liked it.
Dude, you guys make fun of it. I mean, it's obvious you guys don't like it.
I watched that
don't-
trailer and said to myself, how is this the thing that is so bad? Like that they had to do
Yeah.
3 reshoots. This looks the same as everything else that came out this
I also,
year.
in fairness, I did watch it and went like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, like for sure, I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay. You know what else is crazy though? I think it's so funny whenever a new DC trailer comes out. Like every single DC trailer, there's someone commenting in the comments like, "Oh, we're so back, and then there are the haters, which is like, "Oh my God, Marvel's better," and then there are people like, "Thank God DCU's over." So like, you just see like 4 factions of people in the comment section. It is hilarious. That cracks me up every time.
I love the idea of being like, we're so back.
Yeah.
Every single trailer.
I know, it's
It never
crazy.
comes.
Not just that, but also the fact that we're so back, yet this is the last movie in the DCEU. Like, we're so back, and then, like, we're done. We're so done. I'm just watching the trailer again, because it brings me such joy.
Yeah,
It's-
that's what I
it is-
mean.
It's filmed so weird. It's filmed, like, the first little bit is filmed like a Fast and Furious thing where he's like, family's so important to me. Like, he's kissing a baby.
Yeah.
Don't remember there being a baby.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah.
And there's also like a classic, like, I think that there's gonna be a baby pee joke and like controlling the water, but they've cut it
sure.
out from the trailer. So, but like you've got like the classic like baby going hee hee like shot. Yeah, it looks like a lot of like underwater and then
Yeah.
Amber,
Conversation's getting interrupted by explosions.
Amber Heard.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. I
There
agree.
was-
That was so
yeah,
silly.
there was like a compilation where people had cut all the clips of Aquaman where conversations are interrupted by explosions. It happens a lot in the movie, like 5 times. There's like again, rewatching the trailer, there's a part where like there's a volcano in the background and it's spewing green. Not sure what that is. The Black Trident, right? I don't know.
Yes.
I also think Black Manta is kind of exciting to me. I think he looks like pretty accurate, and that's kind of a shallow thing, but I don't know.
Dude,
I'm intrigued to say the least.
That's where all the budget went to.
Just making
it.
a nice costume.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say this earlier and I forgot. I was trying to think like what I was trying to say, but this trailer, again, for a movie that is apparently like so bad that they had to do 3 rounds of reshoots and like just don't want to release. This trailer made me more excited than the Flash trailer, the Shazam trailer, the Blue Beetle trailer. I'm like, how is this gonna be worse? This is, like, it could be better.
To be fair though, like I got excited by Blue Beetles, by Flash, etc. And the real movie is like much worse than what I was hoping for. At least like the impression the trailers gave me, at least.
Well, speaking of trailers that gave us a good impression, there was this little movie that I saw a trailer for quite some time ago called A Haunting in Venice. And when I saw that trailer, I said,
look at that transition.
This movie's going to slap. It's a Hercule Poirot movie, which I've not been traditionally very good thus far. But detective movie, funny voice guy with a mustache. And now they're doing like a genre. That's fucking awesome. And so Aiden, we watched this movie and I'd like you to tell us about it.
Yeah, so this was directed by Kenneth Brannaugh, screenplay by Michael Green, based on the novel Halloween Party by Agatha Christie, which I think is a worse title. I think they came up with a better title.
It's a Halloween party. We're gonna drink
have an apple for a week or two.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Starring, Peter doesn't know what we're talking about.
No.
Starring Kyle Allen,
Go check
Kenneth
out
Branagh.
Summer Party. It's on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. It's a good song. We like it.
It's a good song. It is fun.
Yeah.
Jamie Dornan, Tina Fey, Jude Hill, Ali Khan, Emma Laird, Kelly Riley, Ricardo Scamarcio, and Michelle Yeoh. Cinematography is by Harris Zambarlukos. We don't need that information. Released September 11th, 2023, but in the United States on the 15th. Runtime 103 minutes. Budget was $60 million. So for the box office is $5.5 million. It just came out though, right?
Yeah, it literally just came out this Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I was supposed to say, like, oh, that's not good. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you did say it came out on 9/11. I don't think people were.
It did come out on 9/11.
commemorating
Not in America, though.
this way.
It did not come out on
I
9/11
see.
in America.
That would be a weird choice. Thank you for the information. We are going to do our classic game, Predacritic. There's a website called Metacritic where critics' scores of a movies are averaged out of 100. We are going to guess where A Haunting in Venice lands in said metric. And I have to spin this wheel that I
You
have
sure
prepared.
do.
It's spinning. Man, why am I always going first? It's rigged. I gotta clear my cookies. So I'm first. Okay. 72.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't want to like think about it too much, and I'll just pull
that's
a
fair.
number.
That's
Okay,
high.
spinning again. It might be too high. I don't know.
That's
Hey, Peter,
probably
you're next.
around. That's probably around where I'd go. Oh, that's awesome. I love when Aiden's last. I love that.
I hate when Alex is first. Alex thinks Peter should talk now because Alex.
Yeah, I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking.
Think.
Okay, I
verbally.
think 72 is too high. Okay, that's my thought. But I think 60 is also too low. So we'll go with a solid 65.
65.
65.
Yeah.
I might have to slot myself right in between you guys there.
Oh my god. Look at the man.
It's gotta
Playing
might
the
have to play
game
the
once
game.
again.
I might have to go with a good old 69.
Okay. Respectable.
What the fuck?
Wait, is that right in the middle? No, it's 4
Uh,
away from me and then 3 away from Alex.
Yeah.
I think
But
that
there
critic
is
might
no
have done a redesign. It's throwing me off.
Metacritic.
Wait.
But no,
No rate.
I know what the score is, so I
Predacritic.
can see it. So unfortunately, I may have been too positive on this movie and guessed a little too high and been a little misleading. And actually, a solid 65 was in fact too high. It's a 64. It's a semi-solid 64.
Wow.
And I continue my losing streak.
Too
anyways,
easy. Not gonna lie. Too easy.
Too easy. I think that might give away what our feelings about this movie are, respectively. But Peter, as the winner, you do get to divulge fully how you felt at this present moment.
Okay, so quick disclaimer: I've not seen the first two. I've not seen Murder on the Orient Express, nor Death on the Nile.
I've only seen Murder on the Orient Express. I'm intrigued to watch Death on the Nile only because it looks awful and it's apparently awful. So,
okay, so I think recently, like the detective movies that we've seen is probably like Knives Out, right? That's like the most recent one.
And actually, a year ago we watched that other Agatha Christie one, the Mousetrap one.
Oh right, See How They Run, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think like this movie, compared to like at least the previous detective ones I've watched, are much more serious in tone compared to where it's like, you know, in both See How They Run and what's the other one? Knives Out. There's like a lot more character exploration about like the ensemble before we go into the actual murder itself. Where this one, we find out more about the characters after the murders. After murder has been committed. So I'm trying to stay as spoiler free as possible because, you know, it's spoiler free. But I would say like the twist in this one is very well crafted. I did not expect it. I did not see it coming. And the fact the way they laid out the suspect was also very interesting. And the whole tone and the framing of like this, you know, being sort of like, is it possible for it to be like a supernatural murder instead of like an actual murder committed by human? Like all of that I really dig. I think it's a really cool take on like a genre that's been played out so many times throughout the years. And actually like the setting and the atmosphere are both impeccable in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. And like it was not like straight up scary, and also everything in the movie is explained one way or another, which I enjoyed. So I actually really liked this movie. The only thing I didn't like was I didn't. Okay, did this take you guys by surprise? I didn't expect to see Tina Fey in this movie. Like this is like the one crossover I was not expecting. Cause like you associate Tina Fey with like, you know, like comedy or like musicals, you know, stuff like that, and then she just popped up as an author in this movie, which I was not expecting. So I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a very fun time in the cinema, so I recommend everyone to see it.
I feel like that score does not match your.
That score doesn't
review.
reflect that.
It's kind of like,
Okay,
you're like,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
it was fine.
So-
I didn't care for it, but 3.5.
So it's like, I don't think it's a 4 yet, but also 3 I think is way too low. So it's like, I'm like debating between 3.5 and a 4. I really liked it though. I had a
you
good
liked
time.
it. You did like it.
I liked it. I had a good time.
Okay. Okay. I was very confused by the review. I will say to your question, I did. Despite having seen the trailer, definitely, I was like, "Oh, Tina Fey's in this. Oh, it's Liz Lemon," and I was just like quite caught off guard by that. But Aiden, as the second closest guesser, you do get to give us your non-spoiler review next.
Yeah, so unlike Alex, when I first watched the trailer, I was like, "No way, I'm watching that. This looks dumb. I don't want to see this." Lo and behold, I find myself in the theater, and I was by myself. I was alone in a crowded theater, so there are people on either side of me, and I was verbally reacting to stuff all the time. There was one point in this movie where I went like, "Whoa!" This movie, I'm being serious, is a 4.5-star movie for me.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Oh my
We're
God.
so back.
good. This was so good. Like I could not believe what I was watching. Like right from it was like a slow build too. Like from the beginning, I was like, oh, this is fun. These like cute characters, and like I like the way this is filmed. And like, okay, yeah. Like I'm getting more into it. Then they get to the Halloween party. I'm like, oh, this is so fun. And like this has like some real heart to it. Oh, look at the way it's filmed. And then we're getting into the seance stuff, and I was like, oh no.
Wait, no spoilers, man, no spoilers. Relax.
That's first act. That's like the. No, okay. This is filmed so well. This is directed in such an interesting way that like elevates this movie so high. I have minor criticisms of it, and any criticisms I do have, I don't really care about, because I think it fits so well into what it's trying to be. This is like almost a perfect iteration of like a movie accomplishing what it's setting out to do. I think this is legitimately one of my favorite movies of the year so far. This is 4.5 stars, and I'd recommend everyone see it.
That is a fucking amazing review. I didn't know it would be that stellar, but like, even from the beginning, I was like, no, you're gonna like this. Like, maybe I wasn't sure about it when the trailer first dropped, but like, I've really gotten a sense of what you like in movies, and seeing it, I was like, man, he's gonna love this. So I guess it's my turn. I think I land somewhere in the middle. I think it's pretty much exactly what I was hoping it would be. Like, just kind of like I was kind of hoping it would be like a little better than trashy, and it was. So it never dipped into trashy where it's like, oh, this is just bad and I'm having fun because of it. It was actually like pretty good the whole time. I do think Kenneth Brannaugh does a great job directing this movie. The like cinematography, I was just like, whoa, that's fucking awesome. Like consistently, beginning to end, I was quite impressed with how he did it. And I mean, like, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but like he is like an established director, and he does like a pretty good job like all the time. And what else can I say? The mystery was engaging. I love also Hercule Poirot. Like double duty doesn't always work, but I think he pulls it off really well, both playing the lead character and directing.
Yeah.
Tina Fey is pretty funny doing the transatlantic accent.
I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
I feel like she knew that it was silly, and then like that was kind of the joke. Is like, isn't this silly that I'm doing this crazy voice? I'm from New York. What else? Oh, and it's kind of scary. Like, not like none too scary. Not that I saw that movie, but it was like scary enough where I was like crazy that like, oh, it's not Disney. It's 20th Century Fox, but like for something that is like tangentially related to Disney, I was like, oh, this is wow. They kind of scared this movie up. They spooked it up for a series. The ACKBHPB.
Yeah.
I like that they did a genre film. More adventurous than another acronym franchise such as the MCU, I would say. I feel like this is like a good example of how you take a franchise and actually veer into genre where some other franchises kind of like dip their toes in lightly. And I think they're scaredy cats.
They committed to everything in this movie. Like that, I think that's what I love about it so much. Like, this is clearly like an impassioned commitment to making exactly what they want to do.
I agree. So now because we have and my I'd say maybe a 3.5, maybe a 4. I'll see how I'm feeling. I'm feeling 3.5. I'm not sure I'll ever get to 4.5, but I admire it. I admire the
Aiden, I honestly can be convinced to go for a 4. Because like now that I think of it, I don't have like many valid criticism for this movie.
Right.
I just think like I just default like movie of this caliber to a 3.5, like as high as it can go. But like I'm genuinely thinking about breaking this into a 4. You know.
That's a good discussion. Is like if this movie is like you see it as just lower grade because it's not
100%.
trying to be, let's say, Tar. It's not trying to be Parasite, and we just automatically assume that means it can't achieve a certain star rating. But like, what does star rating even mean? Is it personal enjoyment? Is it how well it succeeds at what it's trying to do, which is how I think you do.
That's how I usually think about it.
Yeah. So I can see that. Maybe I have to rethink my ranking system. But before I do that, I have a job. I have to summarize this movie in 2 minutes, and I shall try my very best. I have my timer in front of me, and I shall start now. So, Hercule Poirot has lost faith in God. And he's been tired and vexed,
great start.
and he doesn't do cases anymore. But then his old friend Tina Fey from the Americas has come back, and she says, I want you to disprove this seance person, Michelle Yao. And so they go to this piazza, this party, and there's the seance there, and it's to bring back the spirit of the owner of the piazza's daughter who died of a suicide, or so we think. And so they do the seance, and then they're like, okay, seance over. And then the seance person dies. Michelle Yeoh is thrown off a balcony in the courtyard and lands on a statue with a hand. Most statues have hands. Not all statues. And then, Hercule Poirot is that someone tries to kill him because he's dressed like Michelle Yeoh, which I thought was really funny. Then they're trying to like, oh, who it is? Who is it? Michelle Yeoh has 2 assistants. He figured that out. That's how she does some of her tricks. There's a doctor who's bad at his job. Oh, there was the children who were killed by the plague and they were locked in the basement. And they go down there. It's pretty creepy. Hercule Poirot has like visions of a ghost girl, and she's pretty freaky. Anyways, the mom did it. I'm leaping ahead. The mom did it. She killed her daughter. Accidentally, she made poison honey, and her assistant, I don't know, her maid, accidentally gave too much because she didn't know it was poison. And so she died, and then the mother faked it as a suicide. She pushed the body into the canal and faked it. And the bodyguard was a policeman. And the kid, tried to blackmail the mom. And that's why she killed the seance lady and the kid's dad, who is the doctor. Because
she thought they were the blackmailers.
She thought they were the blackmailers. I'm over time, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
No, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good.
Cool. Okay. So I guess that brings us to our discussion. What was your favorite part? And I know Aiden doesn't like to go first, so I'll make Peter go first, who's already raising his hand.
Of course. Okay. Before we go into this, I have a fun little story for you guys.
Oh, I have a fun story too. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
So we're watching it opening night, my friends and I, and there were these like high schoolers, teenagers in our theater, and like this movie, like if you really buy into the theme, like and the movie, it's quite tense, most of the time, to be honest. Yeah. And from time to time, we just hear giggling behind us. They're just like the most random scenes. Like first scene, sorry, what's the detective's name again?
Hercule Poirot.
Yeah, the detective Poirot shows up. They just start giggling, and then like random, like really scary scenes. They just all of a sudden start giggling, and then this went on for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then eventually someone in our theater decided enough is enough and turned around and said, "What the fuck is so funny?" and then that's funny. That's a single that, and then like so many people behind us just started pouncing on them, just like, "Yeah, why the fuck are you laughing, man?"
That's awesome. good.
They did the
as they
people's
should.
elbow. Oh my god.
And then before like 20 minutes or like 10-20 minutes before the ending, they left the theater early, and my friend's like, yeah, they made the right choice. When the lights go back on, they're so dead.
And they're like, you're done. And they're like, yeah. That's a reference.
But yeah, anyway, I do have a favorite part as well, though. So, but do we
okay.
want to get on a fun story first? Yeah.
I have my fun story too. So I'm watching the movie, and it's like so quiet at one point, and from like the road directly behind me, I start hearing this. Someone
we can't hear you, Alex.
Okay,
You can't hear it? Oh no!
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't think it picks it up. Yeah.
Well, my Audacity might. So
yeah.
someone is cracking their knuckles individually, like one at a time, with, like long pauses in between each one for like comedic effect. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Dead silent, and it's like not a packed theater, but like there are like a spattering of groups.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's enough people where this is, like, bad form, poor etiquette, and, like, very funny. Because, again, one of those things where it's, like, it's so quiet that, like, you have to stifle laughter. Like, it's, like, one of those assemblies where you're not supposed to laugh. And I was, like trying so hard. I had, like, it was so bad that, like, I was, like, sucking in breaths that were becoming, like, compressed like burps, but I couldn't do that either because it was so quiet, and like I was just like I was crying. It was so funny that it was like crack just like also like fairly quiet noise, and man, that killed me. And I think other people noticed too, so someone went like cleared their throat, and then other people were like kind of like laughing, but I was laughing so hard. Anyways, favorite part. Peter, you have one.
Yes. I have two. I'll start with one though. I think what I find this movie very interesting is when the murder first got committed, like it is genuinely like when you look around the room, like whether it's Knives Out, whether it's See How They Run, whatever, like when the murder first get committed, we as the audience have a sense of like, oh, that might be a suspect, or like, oh, he might have a motive, you know. But when this murder, like Michelle Yeoh's character got killed, no idea. Like literally, I can't think of who can do it in the ensemble, and I really like that because this whole movie is supposed to make you question. It's like, is it a supernatural murder, or is this something that actually happened, committed by a person? And you know, like, and then we have people standing on both sides, right, as an ensemble, which I really enjoyed as well. But like when the murder first got committed, I totally bought into the idea that it can totally be a supernatural thing, you know? And I really like that. I think that goes along with the theme so well and gives the audience a much better experience instead of like having audience to pinpoint, oh, it's like, he might do it, she might do it. They might not be right, but like still, you're giving audience people to point to. But in this movie, at least for me personally, I couldn't point to anyone when the murder first got committed.
So I will say, one of my only minor criticisms of this movie is that I didn't believe at any point that a supernatural being did this.
Yeah.
I not even for a second thought that. And also I would say, I think that there are a few characters that do have motive right off the bat, which I don't think is a problem, but I think like the lady who says like, this is satanic, this is devilish, like she is a motive because it's like what Michelle Yeoh is doing is like a crime against her ideology. You know what I mean? And so like there's something of that, but I think it's really fun that like what I love about the build up to that scene is that like Hercule is having like a crisis of faith, and he's like, yeah, I guess I'll bob for apples, you know? I think
yeah, he just decided to. Yeah, that was a hilarious scene.
I think I will.
One of the things I love about this movie is how like it's like very sincere and about like this guy who's just struggling, and it's very sad, and I think it's actually like fleshed out really well. I really like it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part, or was that it? Was that yours?
I have like 4.
Okay, choose. Pick one.
Okay. So there's a moment where everyone's like kind of questioning whether Hercule is going like crazy, like they're because he's like this guy's like this guy's a crackpot, he can't do this, and the camera is like fixed to the side of him so that we're getting kind of like a profile shot as he spins around the room, and we hear the audio of all this, and he's like what is happening, like what's going on, like he's like, and you can see in his eyes he's like simultaneously thinking so hard but also like fighting off disbelief and like the thoughts that like I can't explain what I'm seeing, which is such a big deal to him. And I think why I like that so much is that it's emblematic of like really good directing, in that this movie knows when to be subtle and when to not. Like, I don't think it ever like overstates how much of a crisis this is for Hercule, because he's not the kind of character that would vocalize it. And so I think it's shots like these that like really, really well just accentuate how he's feeling, and he's spinning around the room, and like I'll get into this, but like the distortion and playing of space in this movie is so good, and this is another good example of it that I really like.
Yeah, it's sad. Like, I watched this movie 2 days ago, and I feel like I can't remember it. Like, I'm gonna have to go watch it again. Yeah. But one part that I quite enjoyed, maybe a bit basic, but the seance I thought was really well done.
Oh, it's fucking awesome, yeah.
There's the whole, like, Michelle Yeoh's, like, spinning around, and, like, the camera's, like, staying on her, and so the room is spinning around her. And then it'll cut to, like, her feet, and it's her feet rotating around.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's the POV shot, and the editing of, like, typewriter, and it's so loud of, like,
the sound,
yes,
yeah. And the shot of her finger going like down, like into that's so good. Yeah. So like just like shot choice and like making it pretty creepy, and then the editing of it all, I thought that was really cool. That was a cool scene. Yeah. No, I think that scene's awesome.
Where do we take this from now?
I got another few parts.
Yeah, I have another one.
You go first, Peter. You can go.
Okay, so I mean, another pretty basic one, but I don't know if this is more credit towards Agatha Christie or this movie, but I thought the plot's awesome. Like, I can't recall the last time, because I know Agatha Christie is like known for, like, you know, the murder is really just like, it's never as simple as it seems. You know, it's never just like a person committing a murder. But like in this movie, there are literally like 3 layers of mystery. There's the actual murder. There is how, what's her name? Joyce Renaud, I think, Michelle Yeoh's character, and her assistants perform like the fake rituals. So that's another layer, and then a third layer of like the daughter's murder and what really happened there. You know, like, and they're all, I guess there's a 4th layer as well in the blackmailer's identity.
Yeah.
So like
4 layers.
I really like how all of these are wrapped in one single story and somehow played into each other. That's so cool to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, and like this is a very side point, but like that kid freaked me out, man. Like, not gonna lie, that kid freaked me out.
Did you know?
Was it the Edgar Allan Poe kid or the?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, which kid? Which kid are you talking about?
Yeah, which kid are you talking about?
The little guy, the little boy who did the blackmailing. Yeah. He freaked me out, bro.
Did you know that kid is not just any kid? That is in fact
related to Kenneth Branagh.
No, it is Kenneth Branagh. It's Buddy from Belfast.
No way!
The dad is. Yeah, I know that. But the kid, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the kid is Buddy.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's
well,
what
the
I'm
dad
saying.
is. The doctor is Buddy from Belfast.
He is?
Yeah, Jamie Dornan.
Who is no, but like the kid in Belfast is that kid.
Oh, what the?
Look
wait,
him
hold
up.
on.
Look it up. I just checked today because I was trying to look at who all the people are in this movie. So Belfast. The first name is Jude Hill, and that is the boy, and he's in Haunting in Venice.
I don't know why I thought Buddy was the dad, but Jamie Dornan is the dad.
No. Jamie Dornan is the dad. Yeah.
I don't know what his name is.
Because he's the one that says, "I'll always be Buddy from Belfast," doesn't he?
He's Pa. Jamie Dornan is Pa.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
And
Well, I was wrong.
Buddy is the kid. Anyways,
Yeah.
what was the actual point Peter was making? Oh, the layers. No, I did agree. I think the layers of like how many mysteries there were like kept it fresh the whole time. There's always,
And it
like,
didn't feel
more.
But it didn't feel random. It felt like all these things were like happening together and intertwined, and that's what I really liked as well.
Yeah.
So I have another part that I really liked. That's the Halloween party. I have a first minor criticism that I think is hilarious about the Halloween party, and that's that their Halloween costumes are so modern. The kids, like the shots of the kids in Halloween costumes are like modern day costumes. One of them is wearing like a Phoebe Bridgers like skeleton onesie thing. It's like, I just don't. Maybe they wore that back then, but I just don't. Like that took me out of it. I was like, what? Like I don't know what's going on here. Ignoring that.
Kid, you're like, why is that kid dressed like Phoebe Bridgers? He's not even born yet.
But yeah, yeah. What are you doing?
Like completely taking out the possibility that maybe they're just dressed as a skeleton. Like, why is Phoebe Bridgers? So
Yeah.
The Halloween party is like great vibes. Like,
It's
with the
awesome.
Whole, like, it's not the slideshow, but like the lantern like theater
Yeah.
kind of thing, puppet theater.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then when we get into like the part where they're mingling too, there's some great character moments. Tina Fey has a good one where these two of the kids are like kissing beside her, and then she like sees one of the other adults coming, and she's like, "Oh, they're coming." And then like the kids stop and go away. That's great. It's like a good just little character moment that like tells you a lot about what kind of character she is. There are also that kind of moment. You get a good introduction to the kid who's reading Edgar Allan Poe. I love that he, like the way he's written is like very like novel-y, and he's like you can get a good grasp of that character immediately. And I think that there's like, I think the mother as well, like it's a really interesting introduction to the mother that like her daughter is dead and she has this big party with all these kids. And I think like, but it's like a spooky house. Like there's a lot going on there that I think is really fun. So I think all the character introductions really fun. There's a conversation where Hercule and Tina Fey are sitting on the bench together, and it's shot with these like high angle shot reverse shots that like separate them from the rest of the crowd. I think it's really good visual directing that makes it seem like they are kind of observers, like they're a different party than everyone else that is here, and I think that that's really interesting, and I think that that's expressed visually very well. Yeah, it's a really good like introduction. It's very sweet too. Like they're just like these characters feel things, and they like, and it's not just like bullshit. Like, and I've said this before, but like a lot of modern movies, it like genuinely surprises me when there's like sincere emotion in it, because it just feels like we don't have that very much. And so I liked this scene a lot.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I like how the shadow theater, I think that's what it is. It's like shadow theater is for the kids is like the most fucked up, horrifying. You know that kids died in this building and they were locked in the basement and they tried to claw at the door to get out, but they just died. Fucked. That's fucked for kids.
Yeah.
And I think actually I'm curious, what is the rating of this movie? Because I feel like
it's PG, I think.
Yeah, like I feel like it's for kids, this movie. And so like the shadow theater is like a commentary about like the movie as a whole. How like kids kind of need to get fucked up a little bit, like they need to see
what? No way.
No, it's fine. They'll be fine. The kids will be fine.
They'll be
That's
fine.
great. Yeah.
They need to like learn to be cool.
Exactly.
And like get
But I
scared
do
sometimes.
like the commentary they had on that though. It's like you show them scary stories so they can forget how scary life is. Like that's
a
crazy,
great
bro.
line.
Yeah, that is insanely deep.
It depends where you are, which is very confusing. So, Canada, in Alberta, it's PG. In British Columbia, it's PG. In Quebec, it's G. But there are no other options. So I guess you're living in one of those provinces.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're from probably Alberta, if we had to choose one.
Cineplex has the rating by the booking thing. So.
Oh, that would be a much faster way to do that.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's PG.
It's PG. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, it's definitely a commentary on like I think like watering down things for kids is not cool. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
got to be honest, and I think that
They can
speaks to the
handle it.
movie generally of like let kids be and like don't try
Yeah.
to like force things upon them and try to like don't treat them like children because sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta let them be fucked up.
Well, and the
Leave it
final
as-
revelation of this movie is that like the most like capable and knowing guy the entire time was in fact the little boy who was
Yeah.
the blackmailer all along. Yeah. So I think you're right there.
And as far as like kid roles, which historically are like sometimes very like get a lot of hate, I think this is
Yeah.
an example of a kid that I found very charming. And I
Yeah.
was like,
I think
this
it was really
character,
fun.
like as just a little freaky little kid, I was like, I love this guy. He's awesome.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I just like how he starts the movie and he's like got his reading glasses and he's reading and he's like, I don't care for parties.
Yeah.
My
very
father
awesome.
fought in the war, and he suffers.
He's talking
from
like
an-
Mia Goth's real voice.
Yeah, and he suffers from an ailment of blueberry pancakes. And what else? You guys still have favorite parts?
I can
like
tell
this
you some more parts.
I
that
have one
like,
more. Yeah.
I could keep.
Oh.
Yeah, there's one more thing. It's just like a visual thing that happens I think twice that I think is really great.
Sure, yeah, you go.
Yeah, so it's just like it's during moments where we've kind of like we've been building to something and now we've hit like one of the peaks in the story. Like we've hit like everyone's kind of gathered and it's like something big has just happened. We've hit like a mini climax. And they do this thing where it's this camera that just like floats in one take just to each character's face and it's timed with like each of their lines and they're like, what's going on? Well, it couldn't have been me because I was and then it's like, well, I saw her in the thing, and then it's like it's floating, and then it will like spin back to Hercule, and then and then like he's reacted thing, and I think it's like it's really well because that's kind of like an obvious idea in some ways, but it's just really well done. Like it's timed really well. The performances fit it really well. It's just a nice thing.
Well, let's talk about the visual direction of this movie.
Yeah.
I saw someone say, like, I just saw some great lines about this on Twitter where people were like, man, I did not expect from the third Hercule Poirot movie made by, like, not Disney, but sort of Disney, that it was going to be, like, I was going to be seeing stuff from, like, The Third Man. Like a very classic, well-shot movie. And so seeing that before the movie, I was like, oh, man, this is really going to be good. And also, like, another person was like, this is the best filmed, like, studio movie of the year. Couldn't agree more.
I agree. I completely agree. That I've seen.
And, like, Kenneth Branagh is, like, pretty famous for this. The canted angles or the Dutch angles. His use of them in Thor, I found very annoying.
Not good, yeah.
Not good because there's too much. But here, he sprinkles them. It's a sprinkle instead of a dousing. And there's just so many shots from this that I was like, that's so fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
there's like the water spout on the side of the piazza where like it holds on it. It's a high angle, and then like a rat crawls out of it. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
shot
awesome.
where like in the beginning, it's trying to get the vibes of like spooky scary, and there's like a canted angle on some pigeons, and then the seagull fucking kills
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
what
awesome.
the fuck?
Yeah.
That was a good start.
Yeah, that was fire.
Oh, there was one shot that I was like admiring its visual simplicity and how it just like it's everything you need in one shot, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's really well directed. And it was the doctor got into a fit of like rage and was like shoving the ex-fiance into a piece of
Oh, is it
glass
through the window?
through the
Yeah,
window.
Yeah.
He's
that was
shoving his,
awesome.
and then the kid is also in the frame, and he's going, "Dad, no, don't do it." And like a less competent director would do like different shots, or you could maybe make it work. But like, I just love that it's all of the visual information is in one shot. You've got pane of glass, the thing happening, and the angel on the shoulder being like, "No, don't do it," and it's all there for you, composed. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, there are a lot of really great composed. I love just the inserts in general. Like they'll just like cut to like the bird, like it's not a parrot. I forget what it is, but it's like it's a bird that's like a parrot, cockatoo, and like there's some really fun inserts of that bird. I think they just do a really good job of both establishing and contorting the space in general. Like, and I think using like very extreme differences in lens, like they'll use like a super wide lens in something, then a super long one. Like in the same scene, they'll cut right between those, and it gives you the sense at once you understand the space enough to understand the scene, but also it feels like everything is shifting and like nothing is set in stone, and there could be something behind every corner, and like it makes you fundamentally not trust the space you're seeing. And I think that's just very good direction for what this movie is.
Speaking of like not trusting the space, they even like play with that at one point where there's like the hallway that seems to extend forever, and he's like, "This is suspicious." Walks up to it, and it's like not a matte painting, but like it's a mural of a fake hallway that extends, and that's how he finds the basement.
And it does lead to somewhere. Cool. Exactly.
Yeah. And
also
I think in that. Yeah, Peter.
And I think like in general, like the whole setting, a stormy night in Venice, and it's also Halloween, and in like an ancient house, just provides so many opportunities for the director to do something cool visually. One thing that stands out to me was when in the final pointing out the murderer scene, it was like the entrance to the canal, and he's standing, the Detective Poirot standing in, like above the entrance, and then all the characters are standing in a row in front of like the door, and there's only one lamp lit like above Poirot. Like that's just like the atmosphere is there, and then the tension and everything, just it's amazing, that shot.
Yeah, and they use one of our favorite techniques. Aiden, did you cheer when they attached the snorri rig to
that wasn't when. But I did. I immediately was like, yeah. In my head, I was like, yeah, and I thought of you immediately as well. Where I was like, yeah, I was gonna like that.
Yeah, that's our thing.
Yeah.
So I'll just explain that the snorri rig is when a camera is rigged to an actor so that it seems like the camera is part of an extension of the character's body, so that the world around them is just like constantly like and like in moving in like, what's the word, like it's jarring, like jarry movements. Awesome stuff.
No, the moment where I went whoa is the one I mentioned, which is I think might also be a snorri rig, but it's the one that I said where it's to the side of his face and he's spinning around the room and we're spinning. That's what I went like, whoa, hold on, we're spinning, hold on.
I like your audience interaction. You're like, guys, hold on, oh my god, we're spinning.
I grabbed my handles. I grabbed my chair handles. I was like, whoa, we're going.
He's fully, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I admire how fully you can like be in a movie.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
So fun.
I think that's let's see if there's anything else. Oh, there's some stuff that's more like production design, I guess. So I'll give a shout out to that. So it's not just like they filmed it well, but also like that's just a really cool visualization. So there was the little like, I forget what they are called. It's like the something-a-scope, where if you're at a science museum and they have like their individual pictures of a movement. So in this movie, it's this little skeleton dance, and when you spin it, it gives the illusion of movement. And so that's kind of like the horse thing, how it is like galloping, and it's the precursor to movie kind of thing. So it's one of those scopes, and they have it at the party, and it's a little skeleton doing a dance. Love that. It was in the trailer, and when I saw that, I was like, this is for me. And then also like the when they're in the kitchen and he's interviewing the lady Olga, and water starts dripping down in an M, and they also just like never explain it. I think it's part of the hallucinogenic honey, but they also like never they don't feel the need to explain every single individual thing. So that's something that's just like, man, that's freaky and just he doesn't even fully acknowledge it, and that's cool.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. And speaking of things where it's like they don't feel the need to fully explain it, a good visual metaphor I really like is the teacup that's like half off the table. We come into the room of the girl who was murdered, like the daughter, and it's like the mom didn't want anything moved, so everything's exactly how it was. And that's even creepy in a way, because that's even like, in a way, that's a ghost in and of itself. Like that's a memory of the person persisting in kind of a haunting form. And we just have this like, we have this teacup that's like half off the table, which later breaks, like it later shatters. And I just think that that's a good, the fact that like she left it there and that's how she had it, like speaks to, it's this idea of like she's teetering, like she was always close to like, she was in a precarious situation mentally like all the time. And what I love is when it comes back, Hercule has a cup of his own that is also kind of resting on the table, and having restored some of his faith and reduced some of this dissonance he was feeling, he just slides it back. And I think that's so awesome. That's so, like, and I think one of the really, like, understated parts of this movie is how much Hercule empathizes with this girl who dies. Like, he clearly, throughout the movie, is, like, seeing himself in this story that's unraveling. Like, he's relating it to his own struggles. And I think that it's really well done.
And also, like, if we go back contextually, the teacup is actually quite significant, because, like, that's the teacup that the maid used to feed her the honey that's poisonous.
Hercule Poirot was the teacup.
He was the teacup all along.
That was great, and I like that. I like the ending of the movie. It's so hopeful. And at first I was like, I did some looking, and I was like, what was this like a cliffhanger or something? Like was this lead in from the last movie? Like he lost his faith? No. But like, don't care. Like this could have been like the start. This is the start of my long acronym franchise. I like this one better than the other ones. Did you know the bird? I keep meaning to say this and I forget. The bird says like "holy shit" at one point. That was awesome.
Really? No way.
Like, holy shit. It's early. It's around the sounds.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about? Oh, the girl. The scary girl. There's the part where she peeks out from the door. I audibly went like, like, because I was scared. It freaked me out. Because it was like the Nope thing. When, like, something is, like, unidentifiable is slowly peeking out. It scares the shit out of me. So I was surprised by that one. An example of, like, genuinely, like light horror, or, like, light scariness. Quite successful in my opinion.
And also, honestly, like this movie, they're shaping up the washroom to be like the thinking space and like a safe space for Poirot. And when the water stopped working, and then the girl suddenly appeared behind him, I was like, oh my god, what is going on? That really got me. That got me. And then the one that she reached out from the mirror when he was in her room, that got me as well. Both of these.
I liked like the building of that scene with the hot water. How it's like, it's clear like something is off and something is amiss, and it's just like the pause and like the shot choice.
Yeah, they have like a really close insert on it, so it's like you know that's important.
And you're like, what is wrong? And he's like, something's weird. There's no water, and then it's really hot water. So yeah, I thought that scene builds very well.
Yeah. I want to say about like the little girl peeking out from the door really quick. I also like there's good setup there because it's like you could genuinely believe, oh, that's just one of the kids from the Halloween party that's staying over. Like that's a believable thing, but then it also could be the ghosts. And so like they've just there's good setup like where they have this either or kind of thing, and they don't feel the need to over explain anything and they don't have to backtrack at any point. Like a bad script will get to a point, realize it hasn't set it up, and then try to force an explanation. But everything I think moves very naturally in this script.
Yeah.
And I would say, okay, this is my question to you guys. This is one scene that I didn't really enjoy. Like, like the base, like the discovery of the basement and the whole setup of it was amazing, and the fact that they had to go down the basement, like very much very high tension, etc. But like, did you guys like how they handle like what's actually in the basement and the conclusion of that? Because I think like, what was the purpose of that scene? Was that just trying to expose some tension between the doctor and then the ex-husband, or is it just trying to like build that sense of paranoia that something might be down there but ended up being like nothing, you know?
Yeah.
What's their take on that?
I think it's buying into the idea that maybe there is something supernatural, and so they're kind of like going against their like Poirot specifically is like his faith, I guess, of like there must be a scientific like accurate explanation for all of this, and so he's kind of buying into the like, but what if it actually is a ghost? And they're exploring this thing also that, like you said, is it's a nice like sort of Chekhov moment where we've set up this thing and like I want to see it. You said it was there. I gotta see it at some point. It does, like when you think about it, feel a little bit like we went down there and then we left and it didn't matter. But I think what you said is kind of like the point is they go down there because freaky sound and we're exploring the possibility, and it does, being down there does further develop the character interactions and relationships, because like you said, it causes tension between the doctor and the ex-fiance, and I think that was the main thing. And then also there was something about like picking up the doll, like a similar kind of stuffed animal, and being like, man, that's so cruel that they did this to the children. So that's a thematic thing as well, is tying the cruelty to children, back then, the plague thing,
that is
to
true. Yeah.
the cruelty of the mother, as we find out later.
I also think that this movie is positing that like the real ghosts are like the ghosts of one's past. Like it's the things that have followed you and have attached themselves onto you, like between discussions of like PTSD, but with the doctor and Hercule and stuff, but also like with the mother, and now like the mother can like over daughter. So I think it is interesting that in a sense they go into the basement and they do find a ghost, and that is like the thing that has been haunting the doctor, and the thing that has been haunting the husband as well, his own shame and his own guilt, which I think like it's those feelings of shame and guilt that we hold on to that I think are this movie is like likening that to ghosts, and it's likening that to being haunted. So I think it is really interesting that it is this like, it's almost like we've entered this sort of like liminal spooky space that does reveal that.
Yeah, and I don't think it occurred to me, but yeah, every character in this movie gets like a sick monologue where they're like, this was the shit I went through. Like the guy's talking about, apparently it's a real battle. I kind of missed the details, so I kind of want to read in to see like,
I didn't really know
what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But so he had his thing, and it was very clear from the start, like he had a thing. There were the two, Romani kids? What's the right word now? Yeah, Romani.
Yeah.
Who are like the seance helpers. They've got their thing. I forget, Olga had a good speech at some point, but I forget what her deal was. Yeah, I think... Oh, and even like the ex-fiance, who traditionally you might think would be like the evil person. And I think even in... It's so funny, like there's a lot of similarities just from Googling it, like with Death on the Nile, because in that movie, Hercule Poirot is poisoned. He's actually poisoned in that movie as well, through champagne. And it is the fiance who did it, or something. So spoilers for that movie. And so I find it really interesting that they're quite empathetic towards this person, and he has a whole reason for what he's doing. Last thing I want to say, I like the part where Michelle Yeoh is like, "We're not so different, you and I." Like I love that beat generally, but like this really worked. And then it's so much of that she then puts her costume on him, which ultimately like causes problems later. But I like the idea of him walking literally in her shoes, like in her mask, I guess in this case, and like he embraces it, and he's like, Yes, what is it like at the back of the salesperson? So I thought that was really cool.
By the way, the costumes in this movie are fantastic, by the way. Like, the mask and the rope and everything. It's very simple, but it's also, like, just puts you in that mood. And that, it just transports you right away.
This movie has immaculate vibes.
Yes.
I think this is something we can all...
Very good vibe.
Does anyone have any last things they want to say?
Regarding like visual stuff,
I'm done.
or just in general.
I said
Okay,
general.
yeah, I have some quick things I want to talk about. Yeah, so this is just a quick thing. Sound design, very, very good. I think this movie. I think we've talked about it a little bit. The seance scene in particular, the various sounds. Like, you need those punctuating hard sounds followed by like a build, and it works really, really well. There are also just like, there's a certain amount of like panning, like audio panning. Like, sometimes something is in the far left or something is in the far right, and like I really love like this sense of there's something that you can't see. I think is established really well by that. There's just kind of ghostly sounds. I love that there are tons of sounds where we don't know if it's just Hercule like hearing it, or we don't know if it's real. And I think that's done really well.
There's like the singing, the child singing.
Yeah.
I forget, it might have been this movie, but there was one movie where I watched and I heard something and I was like, was that in my theater? And like, I actually turned around.
Yeah.
I might have been this one. And then also I love how, like, just how quiet the child singing is at the beginning, where you're like, I don't even know if I'm hearing that. Like, it's one of those subtle things where a lesser version of this would be like, it's not very subtle because the audience has to hear it. And then they're just like, Hercule, it's like the acting conveys it, like, what is that? And everyone else is like, I don't hear anything. But this one is actually like, no, like, I can barely hear it. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah. Sound design is really good. I like all the performances a lot. Right off the bat, I was pretty stunned by the mom's performance, actually. I think right from the Halloween party, like, she's very good. I think Tina Fey is really good in this movie, too. I think she, like, really suits this role. Like, once you get over, like, oh, this is silly and that's clearly Tina Fey, like, which I got over that pretty quickly, and then I was like, oh, she's doing a great job here. Kenneth Branagh is really good. Yeah, all the performances are really good. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this for now.
Jamie Dornan and the kid also.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
Everyone else you mentioned, yeah. But you've all spoken your piece now?
I have.
Yep.
Okay. Now we ask the classic question. Aiden, what is our first segment? That's the classic question.
Yes. That is the classic question. So we have the podcast is called Predator versus Movies, and so we've done the movie part. Now it's time to get to the Predator. We asked the question: would this movie be better if the Predator from the movie Predator was in it? No. No, I don't think so, and I can't even think of where Predator would go in.
Halloween party? It's like
Halloween. Someone's dressed as Predator. Someone's already dressed as Phoebe Bridgers.
So
I guess they
their
could be dressed as
time.
Predator too. Who would win, though, is the question.
Part of the visions.
Oh yeah,
as
visions.
well.
They see Predator. Yeah.
He feels hunted.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in God, but he feels hunted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you have brought up the part B, if you will, of this query.
And I guess it's the mom. The mom versus Predator.
No, it's Hercule.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like
Hercule defeat Predator or clue him out? I think
honestly, yes. I think he 100% could discover anything Predator was doing. I do believe that. In a one-on-one combat situation, I don't know how he fares. But if it's a battle of wits, I do think he's winning.
This is a good question. Peter, what do you think?
I have no idea, to be honest. I think Predator just like shoots him in the head, no?
There's that.
Yeah. Head-to-head combat, I don't think is going quite well for Hercule. What about Predator versus the kid, though?
No, kid's winning. Yeah, kid finds a way.
Blackmails the Predator, you know.
Yeah, probably.
Go back to your planet.
I just love that the kid is able to, like, deduce he figured it out. He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
I buy it. Now we have a second question. Peter, what's our second?
Yes.
What's our second segment?
Predators Pigs. What did you guys watch?
And Aiden, you were gonna have to speed run the shit out
I
of
will
this.
speed
You have
run.
2 weeks
Yes.
of backlog. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think I talked about this in the last one, but I rewatched The Talented Mr. Ripley. I had seen that movie before. This is a very good movie. There's a movie coming out this year called Saltburn that is supposed to be similar in premise, I think.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical of that. I really, really like Talented Mr. Ripley. Performances are great. I think it's really well. It's like a very plot dense movie, and I like that. Like, I think it just works really well. Like, it's a story that has a lot of turns and twists. I think it's really fun. I think it's well directed. I think it's funny that it's like a very 2000s kind of movie. You can tell. But Peter, you want to say something about it?
I will make a quick comment. I also saw this movie recently, and my God, I agree with every take you have. It is so plot dense. It's like just when you thought like surely we're like at the halfway point, right? And then you're like, oh no, we're like a third way through the movie. Only.
It is very plot dense. Yeah.
It is very plot dense, but it's very good though. Like, it just like it's very tense, and also like you genuinely see characters struggle, like both like mentally and also like on their face, etc. Like, you know, it's very good.
Works as a good character study too. But yeah, I also saw while I was away, I saw The Nun 2 in theaters. I think it's better than The Nun 1, but I don't think it's a very good movie. I don't think it's written very well. But I think it's actually shot quite well. I think there's actually some really nice lighting. There's some hilarious moments in it. Not as funny as The First Nun. The First Nun is hilarious. And I was hoping for some more funny lines. But, there's one thing. If I can remember it in 2 seconds, then I'll say it. But if I can't remember it, then it's not a big deal. Shit, there's one thing. There's a scene where they go and they're like trying to find out like information about the nun. Like the two main nuns are trying to find information about the evil nun, and they go talk to this guy, and I forget what it is, but he says something really funny. He's like a bit higher up at the church, and he says something really funny, but I forget what it is. So if you're watching that movie, pay attention. I
have a prediction. So the nuns go up to him, and they say, "Sir, have you like?" What do you like? There's this nun. There's this ghost nun. What do you know about this spirit? Like, what is this evil presence? What do you know? And he says, none.
Yeah, no, that's it. Now that you
crazy.
say it, yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, I also rewatched The Departed, which is also known as The Departed, Martin Scorsese's movie, an adaptation of the Hong Kong movie Infernal Affairs, which I've also seen. I do think The Departed is better than Infernal Affairs, actually. This is a good movie. It's a good one. Yeah. I saw the original Suspiria.
Hold on. I just want to point out that you actually typed out "Departed" on the document.
That's how you gotta say it.
In the accent. That's fantastic.
They're from Boston. They're Irish Bostonians. You gotta say that.
They are.
I saw the original Suspiria by Dario Argento. Some parts of this movie very cool, very sick. Overall, did not love it. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. I was talking to Alex about this. I think this is something that I'd want some context towards like the movement. I feel like I don't. I gave the example of like if I'd watched a French New Wave movie without knowing any of the context to that, I feel like I wouldn't get it as much. And so I kind of want to do some reading into like what was going on around like the Giallo style and like what was the sensibility behind it, what preceded it, you know what I mean? So I feel like I have to do that. But that being said, just reaction to the movie, didn't love it. I saw the original Nightmare on Elm Street, really liked the first half of it, really cool ideas, didn't like the second half as much. I felt like it was bogged down in this kind of weird like conservative 80s sensibility. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I also thought it might be kind of subverting that, but I couldn't really tell. Either way, I didn't really love the second half of it. I also saw 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That is a nearly perfect movie. It's incredible. It's very, very good. Awesome effects. Donald Sutherland is great in it. Great performances, great directing. I recommend everyone see that. Also watched LA Confidential just the other day. Didn't love it. Very cool in some parts. Very moody. Kind of sexist. That's it. That's what I got. That's what I watched.
Hold on, you're not going to recommend Young Balboa and that Saturn and local rappers? No?
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Alex and I did some photography and videography work for some local acts. So the names you mentioned, look them up on Spotify, all platforms. Yeah, it was a good show. And
We also,
if they're listening, thanks for having us out. Yeah,
if they're listening, don't.
if they're somehow listening to this, yeah.
But I will say, if we're recommending bands from yesterday at least, I also ran. That's also Dash
they're great.
ran. I really like those guys.
Yeah,
We've seen them
another local
before.
band.
It was different. It was a hip hop rap show, but they were a punk band. There was a reason why they're in it. It made sense, but they think they're awesome. So Peter, do you have any watches? What do we call them? Recs, picks.
Actually, I've only seen, other than this movie, I've only seen Ahsoka. So I've been watching Ahsoka just because I love Thrawn. But like honestly, so far, visually the show looks amazing. I gotta tell you, like visually it actually looks great.
There's
like,
a face of two skeptics looking back.
very
Raised
skeptical.
eyebrows.
Like genuinely, I don't know if it was using the volume or not, but like
Probably.
the costume design and like some of the visual things in the show is quite incredible. But I gotta say, like, as someone who has seen Star Wars Rebels a long time ago, like if you don't love these characters from the get go, it's very hard to get invested. I think that's like my big issue with the show.
That's what I've heard.
I haven't been invested in like the Star Wars animated side since middle school, I say, like, or maybe like the beginning of high school. So like for me, like I haven't seen these characters in a long time in animation, and now they're just expecting you to have a great sense of investment in all of them just because you've seen them before. It's a little unrealistic in my opinion, but so far it's like very mid, and like the fact that people say it's like, oh, the best Star Wars, or like it's saving Star Wars, like it's not true. I don't think so. Yeah, Endor is still peak for me when it comes to Star Wars. So
I've heard that the theory that this is the thing, the reason why some people are really drawn to Ahsoka is that it's like, this one isn't for the people who like friggin' Andor. This is for the people who stuck through like
Obi-Wan.
7 seasons of the Clone Wars and 4 seasons of Rebels.
Which I did.
The few people who like saw all of that content, and Rebels, which was I think really a testing point for Star Wars fans, because I know
I like
so
Clone
many,
Wars.
but like Rebels specifically, so
Yeah.
many people did not watch Rebels. I didn't watch Rebels.
yeah.
You didn't watch Rebels. Peter, did you watch Rebels? I think you.
I
just
watched
said.
Rebels. Yeah.
You watched
I
Rebels.
only watched Rebels. I didn't see Clone
So
Wars.
what we know is 1 out of 3 Star Wars fans watches Rebels, give or take, and I think it is like it. I feel like it's true that it's payoff for like those people. So those people are like, yeah, this one's for me. Finally, people are like giving me the respect I deserve for having watched 4 seasons of Rebels because nobody else did it.
I also would say though, like, I don't know why you'd want it live action necessarily, even because I remember when I was watching Clone Wars and I was sick, and so I binged like a lot of it all at once, and then I watched like one of the prequels, and I was like, oh, what, Jedis can't do shit. And I watched the live action Obi-Wan show, and I was like, wow, Jedis really can't do anything. Because in the Clone Wars, they'll jump like 2 stories, and then they'll like spin around, and they'll like do, because in animation they can do whatever, but then like it actually, if they feel so limited in live action sometimes, unless it's like really well directed, which Obi-Wan is not, and so I don't know why you even necessarily yearn for a live action Ahsoka.
And it's just like the juvenile belief that animation is like an inherently inferior genre, like medium, so that like, because it was like a cartoon, which is generally associated for children, that if it has to be at some point elevated to live action for it to be like, oh, finally I get to see my favorite character in live action. And it never feels the same way, like, oh, finally my favorite live action person is in the animated version. Like, rarely is that get the same level of attraction. Imagine if like Ahsoka was a or Ahsoka or like a Rebels 2 like sequel series was like actually animated even better if it wasn't in like the Rebels Clone Wars style, like if they tried something different and were like because like she's mature, like they've all aged and matured, like the animation style has changed a bit.
Sure.
I think that would have been really cool.
That could be cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool for sure. And you can make it like Clone Wars and Rebels are for kids. Like it's not because they're animation that they're for kids, but they are like those are kid shows. I like
That is
Clone
for
Wars,
kids.
but
No,
it's
I agree.
it's a kids show. But it doesn't have to be. You could make another like more adult animated show if you wanted to.
Although, despite it being for kids, like people die and like sort of
People
like
do die. Clone Wars isn't fucking around too much, and I do like that about it.
Yeah. I've seen one thing this week, and it was RoboCop. I haven't seen it before. I was wanting something. My thought in my brain was I want to watch something like trashy action. I'm not sure I would call RoboCop trashy because it is fucking amazing. Just it's like, yes, it's a satire, and I love the satire parts of it. Like corporations are evil, the police see themselves as like heroes, and like all that sort of like that's what the movie's talking about, obviously. But like it's genuinely so funny, and it's like just a great like if just surface level, then yes, it is a trashy like action romp, and that's what I was looking for, and it's great. Filmed really well, like really nicely. There's a part where RoboCop is RoboCop is a former police officer who died, and his partner is still alive, and she finds him in the hallway of the police station as a RoboCop, and so she's like, Murphy, is that you? And her shot is framed normally with like her eyes are in the right spot and all that. His shot is not framed normally. His mouth is in the center of the frame because that is the only part of his humanity. So they crop out most of the top of his head because it's all visor. So where his eyes...
That's very
it's
good.
so cool!
Yeah,
I love it!
That's awesome.
There's also like the competitor to the RoboCop program is like I forget the acronym, but like it's a big hulking robot. It's like just an overkill basically, and it's fighting RoboCop at one point, and RoboCop opens the door and runs down some stairs, and he turns around and he's like he doesn't have his weapons, he can't defend himself, and he sees the robot, like it's also, by the way, a stop motion robot, which is very interesting, and so it goes up to the top of the stairs, and then you're like, oh my god, it doesn't know stairs. It can't do stairs. Like there's that realization, and then it like picks up its foot and like lightly like dips its toe, like testing the first step, and like this is after like an intense action scene. It's so funny, and he's like takes one careful step on the first stair, and then you're like, oh no, he figured it out, and then he takes another step and falls down the stairs and then is like stuck on his back. It's so funny. There's also like fake commercials, like the movie will stop and then fake commercial. Hilarious. I love this movie. Definitely one I want to revisit. Next week, maybe we'll do, well, we have two options.
When is Creator coming out? When is the Creator coming out?
The next week after that.
Next week, okay.
Lots of movies coming out the last week. But next week we have some options. We have Cassandra, which is a brand of luchador, the ones who dress up in sort of like pseudo drag. I think this is just my recollection of what it is.
Sure.
But it stars Werewolf by Night, Gale.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, this guy's familiar, and I was like, oh my god, it's Werewolf. But it's the story of a true guy, and they have there's a name for the type of wrestler he is, but the other one is Expendables 4.
I have not seen any
I'll
of
watch
these,
it. Neither have I.
I don't know if I want to watch that.
I've completely changed my view on how I watch movies, and I'm much more willing to watch like complete garbage because that's fun in its own right. So I'll review the trailers and we'll decide as a group. We could watch the good movie That I've heard decent things. I'll see if I can very quickly check.
I'm kind of in the mood because we've just been watching. We've either been watching studio films or just studio trash, like for the past like couple months at this point. And I just like, I just remember. I'm getting nostalgic for the early days of the pod when it was Tar and After Sun every other week, and that's what we were doing.
That's true. So if Cassandra is here, because again, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah,
or, we could do theater camp. We could go back to August, because I think by now it should be on Disney Plus. There was an issue of when it would come out, but I think it came out this weekend or something. So we'll review the options, as I said. As always, if you like us, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Predator v Movies. If you like my thoughts on movies, check me out on Letterboxd at _AlexGordon_. I leave reviews sometimes.
I also leave reviews sometimes in Letterboxd. I'm 810sunny. That's 810SONNY. My name is Wombo. I also leave reviews sometimes. I already said that, but I'm saying it again.
It's because I said it and I threw you off because that's you.
Yeah.
Peter, do you have anything to plug? No, you don't. I'm just kidding. I
No,
don't
I
wait for an
don't.
answer. That means you have to leave a review. You have to leave a comment. You have to.
You're legally
You have
obligated.
to. You have to do it. So reach out to us. Give us a star rating. Must be 5.
Has to be 5. Otherwise, you're breaching the contract.
You have to do it. God, we gotta stop watching that show. I think that was it. I feel like I'm missing something, but until next week, I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aiden.
And this was Predator versus Movies.
Woo, pew, pew.